In this video, I'm going to talk about this, the RG bell from Functional Patterns. A subscriber has sent this video to me, and I want to give you my reaction. Here's what they claim. They say that it combines the functionality of a kettlebell with the explosive potential of a slam ball, whatever that means, and it offers a safer and more intuitive way to train. Plus, it leads you with countless amounts of exercise variations. Is it a good thing? Does it make sense? Find out in this video. Grüezi miteinander, Gregory von Lebe Stark here. If you're over 40 and you want to become strong, fit and lean without going to the gym twice as fast, download my free ebook in the first link in the description. And now without further ado, let's jump right into the reaction of truly one of the tools of all time. First of all, let's examine these claims. They say this thing can combine the functionality of a kettlebell with the explosive potential of a slam ball. First, explosiveness, speed, velocity. How do we train this best? According to Dr. Yuri Verkhoshansky, we have to make sure that the time that goes by between relaxation and tension of the muscle is less than 0.14 seconds. That's one of the reasons why Dr. Yuri Verkhoshansky came up with depth jumps to improve velocity. According to Zatsiorsky, he says that these are exercises that shouldn't be included in an athlete on a regular basis because the effects wear off quickly and there is a higher injury risk. So jumping exercises, explosive exercises are rather reserved for the athletic population who needs it in their particular sport. This thing, they have a 3 kg, a 5 or 6, a 9, and a 15 kg. And now with the 15, it is very visible. Check this out. This is such a big handle, and the material that this handle is made of just doesn't make sense for proper kettlebell training, because when it comes to kettlebell training, the most bang for your buck exercises with kettlebells are swing, clean, jerk, snatch. And a solid hand insertion is probably not really possible with this thing. You're probably going to tear your hands apart. They're going to look like hamburger meat if you do lots of cleans and snatches with this thing. And now if you say, well, this is not what the kettlebell, this is not what this particular kettlebell is used for, then why call it a kettlebell? Or why come up with an idea where you combine an exercise or a tool or combine two tools together? If you say, well, I don't want to do the most bang for your buck exercises of that particular tool with my new tool anyway, well, then it doesn't make sense, because if you say you want to combine the functionality of a kettlebell with these most bang for your buck exercises with the versatility or the explosive potential, which we've seen is probably not. You don't get very explosive if you do slam balls or wall balls. And by the way, this is rather a wall ball. Slam balls remain on the ground when you slam them down, and wall balls jump back. And we have seen this in practice. If you slam this thing down to the ground and it comes back at you, it's probably going to meet your chin and your nose, and not in a good way. Now, let's jump a little bit deeper into it. So they say coordination, balance, and power. So power, same with explosiveness, it's fast movements. We talked about this already. Now, coordination, slamming a weight or any implement down to the ground doesn't require a lot of coordination. Everybody can do it, which is fine, which is great for a beginner, right? Because beginners, just the main thing about beginners is just move, just exercise. This is great. But once you mature, you want to use some proper periodization, some proper programming to get the most bang for your buck and the most benefits out of the tool and out of the time that you're investing in. Plus, it has water inside, so it shifts back and forth. I get the idea. There are some slosh pipes, I think I've heard of, which add some additional stability components. So I can maybe grant you this with some additional stability, but just do some regular snatches, regular swing, regular clean, especially one-arm exercises. They train rotational strength in the body, and momentum exercises in and all by itself train your stability. Unless you do this particular exercise that she's doing, this one where you turn the weight behind your back, it is a cast move or a backswing that you can do with a mace or a club bell. So club bells and maces, they lend themselves well for this. Then you say balance, and balance is something that a lot of people think is just jumping around and looking funny and lifting your leg up. And while that is true to a certain extent, in therapy, just proper balancing exercises are strengthening exercises for people, for example, after an accident. So they have to do just some basic balance exercises to get back on their feet in the literal sense of the word. And afterwards, you just use weights to improve your balance. And I jumped on a slack line once, or a particular special product. I think the Gibbon, I forgot what it was called. And I had some good, solid, and decent balance. But think about it. We always stay on the floor. So we always have our feet firmly planted on solid flooring. And if you don't need particular additional balance in your sport, if you're an athlete, then just do some basic exercises, especially the unilateral exercises. And then some walks, right? Where you have a suitcase variant or an overhead variant that requires your body to stay as stable as possible, which will improve your balance in the end. Now let's talk about safety. They think that stuff like this is safer, slamming weights on the ground, going on the back and just looking funny, and actually, to be quite frank, looking stupid. They think that this is a safer way to train. I don't think jumping around and making funny moves and having an implement, a weight bounce back at you, is a safer way to train than just the regular kettlebell exercises that we do. And additionally, more intuitive. Like I said, slamming weights on the ground will get you tired. And if you exercise and train for the sake of getting tired, then by all means, go ahead and do it. I just doubt that you get any benefits out of it. And more intuitive, yes, the kettlebell can be a little bit tricky, but that's just because it is a skill that you have to learn. Anything that you haven't touched before or any skill that you haven't mastered won't feel intuitive to you. So then you have to spend some time learning it, and then it'll become intuitive. And then the final feedback that I have is it offers you countless amounts of exercise variations, which is the worst thing that you can do, actually. Then you get analysis paralysis. Well, what should I do? Should I jump up and slam it down? Should I do jump up, backflip, and then stand on my leg, tippy toe on my leg, and then do a head spin, and then slam it on the ground? And you get all these crazy variations, especially when you see stuff like this, because there are no rules, no regulations, no fundamentals. Just do whatever you please. And if you want to do this, again, that's fine. But for a periodized program that grants you results and benefits, this just looks like a joke. And programming, and especially strength programming, and this is what these folks do as well, it should be visible with solid results, and not from a look how the guy runs away from the bell as if it explodes, and not from a perspective where you think, all right, I have some therapy results. Because this is what they claim, right? Some therapy stuff that they have, which, all right, is fine. Granted, if they have special physiotherapists or special aspects that they improved on and that they use, granted, that's fine. That's not my expertise. But this is not going to give you solid benefits like the basics would. And this is always the gripe that I have. Even though I try to keep an open mind, in many cases it looks like something that doesn't give you any additional benefits over the regular basics that we use, and countless amounts of exercise variations will, like I said, lead to analysis paralysis. You need to have a firm, solid framework of a couple of exercises that you do forever with some variations and some tweaks. I get that, for variety's sake. But you do them forever because they give you the highest return on investment. Why should you bet on something else if you do something that grants you the highest return on your investment? And if you look at the exercises that they have, they think this is explosive strength, right? Just bring the kettlebell up, some extending the elbow, some tricep work, a strange swing, a little bit of hyperextension, and dropping that thing down to the floor. Look, as if this was a swing, as if this is a swing, right? They think this is explosiveness, which to me is just not true. Speed, strength, explosiveness, power, stuff that is talked about in here. You know what this is? It is incredibly, highly complex. And strength training, especially for the athletic population, is highly complex when you jump into specificity for each sport. It's a biomechanical analysis. You have to understand the joint actions. You have to understand how the body reacts. Then you have to really have a program where you use these gains that you're building with, not with this, but with true explosive exercises, and then ramp it up and then include it in your sport where you actually need it. This is just marketing. It looks funny. And again, because the strength training world for athletes is so complex, people use that as a cop-out, use some strange looking tools and exercises exercises and then claim some strange benefits or add some type of benefit to it that is just not proven, but nobody bats an eye, nobody says something because this thing is so incredibly complex. So I get that. And so again, if you want to do some rotational stuff in the frontal plane, use a mace, use a club bell. And this is here as well. You see this here as well. Look at the first comment. Feels like the mace bell would do better at those. It is what it is. Functional patterns has always been a little bit strange to my eye. And I had interactions with Naudi before. A guy was incredibly toxic and was incredibly disrespectful and really loud and but you know what? People change. I have changed as well. I used to be a loud and sometimes toxic dude as well back when I was younger, and I've changed. So granted, maybe he changed too, but that's another topic. Just talking about that perspective, that thing, that kettlebell, I cannot recommend it. And if you're looking for a true kettlebell, I recommend the Pro Kettlebell. Let me tell you, every professional who gets their hands on it, they say it is one of the best kettlebells ever, and they don't train with anything else. If you want one, you find it in the link in the description. And if you use the code Lebe, you can get 10% off your next purchase. So here's the next thing that you have to do. Clean and press that like and subscribe button. Share with a friend who's also interested in kettlebells. And if you made it this far, download my free ebook in the first link in the description called the Kettlebell Code. If you're over 40, 50, or 60, you don't have a lot of time, but you still want to take care of your fitness, this is where the kettlebell comes in. And I'm going to show you a shortcut with my ebook. So download it right now in the first link in the description. 100% free.